Right, so I'm gonna try a different place today.
Don't know if I was aware a piece was missing.
Hello. Americano, please.
Americano.
Yes. Okay.
Amazing.
Kept keeping on in my stride. Oh.
You know, I've been getting quite a few questions about Divi and how to get started. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create a video where I show you how to get started step by step. And not only that, if you actually haven't bought Divi yet, I have a fantastic offer. If you do buy Divi using my affiliate link, I will give you access to my course which teaches you how to design websites from scratch. Now this course is thorough. It costs about $497, but you're going to get it absolutely free. All you have to do is to let me know that you've bought Divi using my link, and I will give you access to that course. You know what, guys, it's really cold here. Really need to get back inside.
Better late than never for you and me.
Now, what most people do is they buy Divi, install it on their computer, and start building their website. But what you don't realize is Divi pushes out a lot of features. So what normally happens is you go to your website, you try and install your latest feature, and you realize that you can't have access to all the updates. So most people are confused at this stage because they're not sure why it's not working. So what I'm going to do now is show you quickly what you need to do as soon as you buy Divi and install it on your computer. So here, what you need to do straight away is to come over here to Divi, click on theme options, and then go to updates. This is where you need to enter your username and API key. So I'm just going to do that now. Enter my API key, save changes. Now, if I come over here to my dashboard, click on updates, if there's an update, my update will show there right away. And every time there's an update from Elegant Themes, you will be able to get it. So this is one of the stumbling blocks that a lot of people come through after buying Divi. And by the way, if you haven't bought Divi yet, I have a super secret link in my video description below. It gives you 10% off. So if we take a look at the pricing here, it's $89 per year and $249 lifetime license. Now my link will give you 10% off. So don't tell anyone. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about here is once you've installed your Divi theme, you've added your API key, the next thing now is to add your colors for your color palette. Now, a lot of people don't actually do this stage, and this is a stage which is crucial. It slows you down. So you want to make sure that you have all your colors ready as you're designing your website. Now, let me show you where to find this. So over here now, back on our website, you want to come over here to the theme options. Now, notice that I haven't even started building my page yet. I'm just setting up all my main things here to begin with. So let's say, in fact, this is your default color palette. This is what comes in with Elegant Themes. You don't want to be using the default one. You want to use your own color palette. And adding colors here is very easy. So you want to come over here. So let's say you don't want to use this black. You can go here to a very dark gray, move on to the next color. And you can just, choose your colors this way. So I'm just doing this really fast, but you would actually need to go to a website that will give you like color palettes. One of the websites that I use is colors.co. So in fact, let me just show you here quickly how you could get these colors that work well together. So this is the website that I use. What I'll do here is I would generate some color palettes. Now, once I'm happy with the colors that I need to use, like for example, let's say I'm going on with this, I would just copy my colors from here and then just add them onto my color palette. Okay, just like that, copy and paste. Now, once you've added all your colors here, that's it. You don't have to revisit these colors anymore. So you're good to go. So everywhere you go while you're building your website, you are going to see all these colors. Now, this enables consistency in your design. And this is what makes your websites look professional. So if you're a beginner, this is exactly what you need to do to start off with. All right, now moving on. So once you've done this, let's save changes. Okay, next, let's head over here now to all pages. And let's create a basic page so I can show you how Divi actually works. So I'm going to click here on add new. Now let's call this page Divi. So here, the very first thing you want to do is to obviously use Divi as your main builder to build your website. So I'll just click here, use Divi. Now this is going to take us through to this welcome to the Divi Builder. Now this only shows once, so you don't need to worry about it. So once you click on start building, straight away you can go in and start building your website, or you can take a tour where it just shows you around the Divi Builder what features do what. Okay, so I'm gonna click here on start building, and right away you see we have these three options. Now if you're starting off, you don't have to worry about clone existing page because we don't actually have any pages here that are created with Divi. So this feature here is for mainly a website that has already pages on it. So this one here is out. The next feature here is choose a pre-made layout. Now choose a pre-made layout is also good. Let's say if you want to use layouts that are already on your on the Divi library. So let me just show you where these layouts are and how you can use them. So I'm going to click here, choose pre-made layout. Now here we're going to have a list of designs that are already done for you. These are ready. You can just go in, change your images, change your colors, and change the actual text of that page. This is a very good way of getting started with building your pages on Divi. So now let me show you how you can actually load one of these pages. So let's say I want to go with this layout right here. I'm going to click here, use this layout. Now this layout is going to import all the images, all the designs, all the sizing, everything will just look perfect. In fact, it will look perfect on all devices. And this is why sometimes I prefer designing my pages this way. Now that it's installed, in a moment, it's going to show me the page. And there we go. So now we have all the elements of our page. And pretty much this is our starting point. So this is one way that you can actually start designing your websites. So I've just clicked here on publish. Now the page has been published. Okay, so that's way number one of building your pages. All you have to do now is to go in, change the colors, change the backgrounds, and so on and so forth. Now let me show you how the builder actually works if you now want to start building your pages. Let's go ahead and build another page. So I'm going to click here on new page. Okay, so this one here, let's just call this test. Okay, I'm going to click on use Divi Builder. Now we're going to build this from scratch. When you're building a page from scratch, it's very important that you understand how Divi actually works. And this is what I'm going to explain right now. So when you open sections, modules, and rows, they all have these menu items here at the top. So this one here is for dragging things around. This one here, it gets you into your section settings. This one here duplicates it, and so on. So once you mouse over this area, it just pretty much tells you what it is. So let's say I want to go in here into my section settings. You can see right away, I can go in and start adding a few things here. Now, how I prefer to actually work is to snap this over to the left like that, so that I can see everything that I'm designing over here. Okay, so now Divi is laid out into sort of like three design workflows. So it starts here with the content. So the content is where you actually add your information. The second tab here is how you style it. And then over here, it's advanced. This is where you add your CSS. And if you want to add any other features that are mainly advanced here, like positioning features here, this is where you do it on the third tab. So this should be your design workflow every single time you want to work or you want to design anything on your page. So you start here with the content. So over here, the only things that we have is the background. So here we can add a background color. So let's say I add that color. Oops, that is really ugly. Okay, let's start by, okay, let's go with that. So that's all you have to do. And then on the bottom here, you can actually save by just clicking here on this check mark, or if you want to exit out of it, you can just click on discard all changes. Okay, and then over here, this is where you undo and redo. So it's pretty, straightforward. Now let's say you are not sure what any of these elements do, right? So if you're a beginner, you don't know what's on your page. what you need to do is to come over here to this question mark. So once you click on that, it pretty much tells you what this background does. So here you can see it adjusts the background style of this element by customizing the background color and so on. So this is really, really crucial if you want to find out what's what in Divi. Now, there's also another way of actually getting help here, and that is scrolling all the way down here where it says help. You click on this question mark, and guess what? Here's a video that now explains what the header is about. And we have these videos for pretty much everything on Divi and how it works. So if you're really stuck, these are the two ways that you can really drill in and find out what's what here in Divi. Okay, so now let me save this. Now let's go and add the next stage. So now we've worked on our section. The section is pretty much the part on your website that pretty much holds the content. Okay, it separates the content on your page, and I'll show you quickly how that works. So let's say we have that section here. Let's add another one. So I'm going to click here on this plus button. I'm going to click on regular. Now this section here, I'm going to give it a different color so that I can show you that these are pretty much two different sections. So if I come over here, click on background, this time I'm going to add a very light gray. Let's go with that. So after you've added all your sections, now it's time to go in and add your columns. So this is how we work in Divi. You add your sections first, and then you add your columns. Now there's so many column structures here that you can choose from. So you can see this is a single column. These are 2 equal columns, 3 equal columns, and so on. So let's say in our design here, we want to use 2 equal columns. You select that. And now I just want to close this for now. Now you notice that we have this row that has been added now. So this allows us to control that particular row. So I can actually go in here into my settings. Now notice that we also have the row settings. So if I click here on row settings, this will give me even more options to customize this. So I can add a background color. So let's say I want to add a background color here. Notice that I've just added my color in there. Now, if I come over here to design, I even have more options here. So if I go into sizing, this is where I can make my width really, really long. If I want to make it edge to edge, all I have to do is to add 100%. And then over here, the width, I can set this to 100% as well. Now notice that now my row is now edge to edge. So these are the decisions that you need to be making as you're designing your website. Okay, so I'm not going to go too deep here and show you every single feature, but I'm just going to help you get started really, really fast here. So this is where you can do all your adjustments. So let me bring this down to about 80%. In fact, let's do 70%. Okay, now that I have my background color here, everything looks okay. Let's save that. Save this one more time. Now, this is the third stage. So we started off with the sections. Now we are just talking about the rows. The next stage now is the actual modules. These are the items that contain our actual content. So to add a module, you just click on this plus button. So here, let's say I want to add a text module. So you just search for it. Now this is another quick tip. If you search for it, it comes up really quick. So now I can select it, and notice now I have my text. Now going back to what I explained earlier on in the way we work with Divi, what you need to do is to understand that the first step here on the settings is adding the content, and then you style it, and then you go to the advanced. So over here now, the content, this is where you can just go in here, you can type, your information here. So let's say this one here is going to be a header, right? So let's call this is header 1, just like that. Now you want to assign header 1. So I'm going to highlight, click on this drop down, set it to heading 1. But let's say I want to make it all caps. I want to give it a color and so on. How do I actually go ahead and style it? This is where now go to the second tab, as I mentioned before. Now it's time to actually target the exact item that we need to make changes to. So it's heading 1, remember? Click here on heading text. We're on heading 1. Now I can change the font. Now notice that my color now has come up, and that color palette that we created earlier on is following me everywhere I go. So every time I want to work on my colors here, they are ready for me to use. And this is just, it just makes my design process easy. So now that we are targeting this heading 1, and notice that we also have heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, heading 6. So now I can change my font here. So let's say I want to use, okay, let's go with this one here. We can change the font weight, we can make it bold. And then over here, we can make it all caps if we need to, but you know what? That looks really ugly. That doesn't look nice. Okay, we can also align it to the center. We can do quite a lot of things here. And then here's the most important part. This is where now you can set your sizes. So you can see here as I'm dragging the slider, I'm actually making my header quite big. Okay, so let's say that's the size I want to go with. Now, there's another thing here that you can also fix, and this is a question that I get most of the time. How do I make my website mobile friendly? So for each and every item that you are working on here, you can click on this little icon here, and this now will give us access to the tablet and the phone. So if I come over here to the tablet, it gives me an idea of what it looks like here on the tablet. And then I can actually go in, maybe I want to reduce the size a little bit for the tablet. So this is where I would do it. And for the alignment, maybe for the tablet, I want everything centered. So I can come over here to heading text alignment. Again, I'm going to click on this little icon and then I'll just center it. Notice that this setting is only for this layout, for this actual tablet view. If I go to mobile, again, that looks fine. But if I wanted to, I can align this to the right. But of course, that doesn't look nice. But on the desktop, it's going to stay in place. Okay, great. So I'm going to save that. Next, let's say I want to add another text module. I can click on this plus button, search for it, select it. So now I have another text module. Now here's another thing. In fact, what Divi makes the workflow even better to work with is the fact that you can just mouse over here, click on this brush tool, and this will take you directly to the item that you want to work with. And this is what I really like about this. So here I can just choose my color. So let's say I'm going to go with color like that. Pretty much I'm happy with that. And then over here now, I can go in, I can, change my font. So let's say I want to use Poppins here, add my font just like that. I'm going to save it. Next, let's say I want to add a video. I can just click on this plus button, search for my video module, select it, and now I have my video. Now, there are also certain things that we can actually do here to make things look much, much better. So as you're designing, you'll notice that your video here is way too close to the edge. You want to give this some breathing space. This is now where you can go back in and really tweak this design to how you want it. So I can go into my row settings, design, spacing, and this is where I can start adding my sizing. So let's say 20 top and bottom, left and right. So now I've just added some space here on the left and the right, and this just makes my design look much better. So if I drag this slider here, you can see it's actually increasing. Now it's 40, and I can do the same here for the top and the bottom like that. Notice that I've actually activated this chain. The chain allowed for both sides to have the same value. So it's actually a quick tip if you really want to design it using that way. Okay, so now I can save, and this is now our layout. But notice how I've done this. I can also go back in something that I've already designed, make some changes, and just tweak it as I'm going. Yes, it may take a bit of time to make sure that it looks the way you want it to look, but the most important thing here is you can actually go in and make those changes even after you've finished designing the actual page. Now, let's take a look at some other modules that you can work with and how you can customize them. So over here now, we've worked with our first section. Let's move on to the next item. So let's say over here, we want to have 3 columns. If we take a look at our modules here, they pretty much follow the same structure. So let's say I add a blurb. Same thing. You start off here with the content. You go into the design, and then on the advanced, this is where you can add your custom CSS and so forth. But what you'll find is you're not going to spend a lot of time over here. You're going to be spending your time on the content and on the design. But occasionally, you will then switch over and start working on the advanced tab. So here is where you can actually choose what content you want to add here. So I want to do one more example. The first item, again, we can click on this brush tool, and this will take me straight to where I can make my adjustments. So you can see here, I can add borders, I can, style this, I can add drop shadows. There's so much really that I can do here on this tab. But of course, you want to first add your content. And notice that I keep repeating that. First add your content, style it, and then keep designing it that way. So let's start over here. I don't want this image. I want to add an icon. But if I wanted to add an image, I can just come over here. I can go to my media library, and let's say this is the image that I want to go with. Okay, oh, let's go with this one here. Upload an image. So now I've added my content, and my content here is the image. Next, maybe I want to add my title. So I'm going to come over here to content, text. Here's my title. So let's call this my new title. There we go. So you can see here it says been updated. And let's say over here, this is my text. There we go. So I've added my content. Now it's time to style it. This is where I could come onto this design tab. So I can start here with the image and icon. And if you see this, overwhelming and you're not sure what all this is about, all you have to do is to come over here, hover over this area, and this brush tool will take you directly to the item that you want to make changes to. So now that I've selected it, I can add some rounded corners just by dragging that. You can see now it's adding my rounded corners. And then over here, let's say I want to work on the title here. I can just click on this brush tool. It's going to take me straight to my title. I can change it here to Poppins. I can make it bold. I can change the color, and I can also align this to the center. Next, this is the paragraph text. I can click over here as well, and that has taken me directly to my settings. So here I can click on, let's say, my font here, Poppins, and I can also align this to the center, save that. So you can see that if you work in that manner where you add your content, you style it, add your content, style it, add your content, style it, this is the best way to work. Now, let me talk about the final thing, and this is the actual builder. So this was something that was introduced recently on Divi 4.0, and this was a game changer. Now, you can actually have your headers and footers look the way you want. You can see here by default, it doesn't really look nice. It doesn't look professional. So let me show you where you can fix that. All right, so I'm going to save this, and then we are going to head over out of this. So let's come over here to our dashboard. So to go to your theme builder, you want to come all the way down here, select theme builder. It's actually quite hidden, so you really need to go there. This is where you can start designing your header and your footer. So over here, you can start by saying add global header, build global header. So the header that we're going to build here is going to be applied pretty much across the whole website. So this is the advantage of actually using the theme builder. It's very, very powerful, and I highly recommend that you play around with it. It's going to make your websites look really, really, really professional. All right, so here we can build from scratch. So let's say you want to have a 3-column structure. Here on the first one, this is where you want to add your logo. So let's add an image. And I'm going to choose a logo. Do we have a logo here? Actually, I don't even have a logo here. So let me upload a logo. In fact, let's go with this one here. Funnels to income, upload an image, and there we go. So that's my image there. That's going to work as my logo. So I'm just going to save that. And then over here, this is where I want to add my menu. So here's my menu. I can select my menu over here if I've already created it. But of course, the most important thing is you need to first create the menu. I can save that. Over here, I can add a button if I need to. So I'm just doing this really fast just to show you how quickly you can go in and set your heading. So now that I've added that, I can just save this. Okay, let's save it one more time. Right, so if I close out of this and I open this in a new tab, right, so this is what we currently have. But now if I save changes and I refresh this, okay, so here it is. That's my logo. And at any point, I can always go back in here and make some more changes to it. So let's say I want to add a background color to this. I know so far this is looking really ugly, but this is just for demo purposes only. Okay, so let's say this is going to be our header. I'm going to save that. And I just need to remove the background color in here. So I'm going to go in, go to background, get rid of that color, save that. Okay, so let's say I've made my changes to my header. Now, if I close out of here, save all changes, and then over here, if I refresh this, now you can see my header has been updated. And if I click here on a different page, it will still have that header. So you can see this is the page that we built earlier on, and it has the header. So the process is the same. If you want to create your footer, you can actually go in, create your footer that way. You just come over here, add your global footer by clicking over here, and designing it the way I did this. Now, here's the thing. If you really want to take your designs to the next level, what I've done is I've actually created a template, so a header and footer template, and this template is called Genesis. What it does is it gives your designs a fresh looking header and footer. In fact, let me show you what this template looks like. So to install it, you just want to come over here. In fact, you need to be in your theme builder. So you want to come over here to these two little arrows. So if you click here, click import, no file selected, just click on here. And then I'm going to go to my desktop here because that's where my template is. And then I'm going to go ahead and install the, let's go with the light template. Okay, click open. Then I'm just going to import this. So what this has done now is it's imported the design that I created. So it's going to be applied now to my design. So you can see now we have a 404 page. We have a search results page. We also have a header and footer. So I'm going to save now. And then if I come over here and refresh this, now we have a beautiful header there. If I scroll all the way down, you have this beautiful footer. So as you can see here, you have this footer. Now, all I have to do is to add my logo. So if you have a logo that you have for your site, all you have to do is to come over here to theme options. And then on the logo, click upload. And here it is right here. I'm going to select my logo, set as logo, save changes. And then over here, all I have to do is to refresh this. And now you can see my logo here has been added. And it is also there in the top. Now you may be thinking, why is it cut off over here? For this to actually show correctly, you need to log out after once you finish designing this. So let us log out of this. And now when we take a look at our header here, you can see it has a search item here and our links are well designed. And if I scroll here, it has a beautiful little animation there where it shrinks the actual header. And if I scroll all the way down here, you can see here now we have our footer. So if you want to get started off very, very quickly, this template is only $7. I'll include that in the video descriptions below. But pretty much in a nutshell, this is what you need to really get started with Divi and start working with Divi. The reason why I really like Divi is the fact that it's very easy to use. And once you get started, it's pretty much addictive because you can just create pretty much any type of website that you want to create. Now, I haven't even touched a fraction of what you can actually do with Divi. It has so many options, and if you'd like to take your designs to the next level, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you can buy Divi using my affiliate link, and I'll give you access to my Divi Blueprint course. This course will teach you pretty much everything that you need to know about designing websites using Divi, and also I provide a lot of support. You also get my weekend workshops where we work on Divi projects. So that's what I have for you today. Tell me what you think. If there's anything that you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments box below. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.